Welcome to the True Grime Stories podcast, where in every episode, we'll unravel a new mystery of cleaning business transformation from a grimy mess to a great success. Join me, your host, Jeannie Henderson, as together we dig up cleaning business secrets that you've been dying to know. Hello, everyone in the cleaning business world. I'm so excited that you're here with us today on True Grime Stories because I have two powerhouse cleaning business owners with me today, and you're going to be glad you're here. So I can't wait for you to meet them. First, I'd like to introduce to you Laura Natoli and her partner, Holly Silva. Laura and Holly have a great story. They've been friends since literally birth. And their parents were friends, and so they've known each other their entire lives, and now they're entrepreneurs and running a business together. So if you have a partner, stay with us because you're going to want to hear how they work together to build a great business. They have a business called Chores and More in Suffolk County, New York. I probably didn't say that right. I struggle with that, but they have been in business for 7 years, but they shared that the last 2 years are a lot different than the first 5. And so we'll reveal that grime story here today. And they just have a passion for providing great service and also for helping other cleaning business owners, which I absolutely love because, I feel that way too. And they love to share their experience. So they also have a podcast. We'll be sharing the link to their podcast in our show notes today. It's called the Hustled Up Podcast, and you'll want to check that out as well. So I want to welcome our two amazing guests today. Welcome, Laura and Holly.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us today. We're very excited, as you can tell from our faces.
Yeah. No, this is going to be a great discussion. I've been geeked about this all day. So I'm so glad that you're both here. So this True Grime Stories podcast is all about, helping people understand that, entrepreneurship isn't easy, but there are ways to overcome challenges and things like that. So either one of you, whoever wants to start, if you could share kind of your beginning story, how you got started in the cleaning business.
Well, I think I could take this one because it was my idea.
Holly. It's all her fault.
All right. All your idea, Holly.
So I'm going to start from when we were born. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Let's see. We got a little time. Okay.
But on a serious note, Laura and I both went to 4-year colleges and got bachelor's degrees. And I studied journalism. Laura studied theater. So as you can see, we did not end up in the industry that we were planning on ending up in. After graduation, for both of us, we were working jobs that we either didn't like. I entered corporate America, and people were getting fired every Friday. It was scary. Yes, the bosses were, it was terrible. It was so bad. And then I knew that there was an issue when I wanted to be one of the people who got fired. I knew that that's when my time in corporate America was done. Laura was working tons of back-to-back jobs. She was going on auditions like crazy, constant rejection. So I had this wonderful idea to start a cleaning business because I thought that it was cheap and required no overhead, which I guess in the beginning it kind of is.
It but can be, depending on where you buy your supplies.
Yes, exactly. And so I said to Laura, let's just do this. Let's just try this out, and Laura said, I'm not cleaning toilets for the rest of my life. I'm not doing it. Lo and behold, my powers of persuasion got her on board. So we started cleaning houses, and we officially registered our business, and we started to grow quickly because we always have been great with our branding, and we are very authentic. We put ourselves out there, as you can see. We are very unapologetic, and I think people like that about us. And we started to hire. And we did not know what we were doing. And all of a sudden, it was just chaos. It was just complete chaos. And we struggled for quite a few years. We struggled through the pandemic. And then we found CBF. And as I tell everybody, it changed our entire life. It changed our lives. It really did.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, and we don't know what we're signing up for sometimes when we, start things like that. And then you add in other people to the mix. That's, with people we can't control. We don't know them well, all those kinds of things. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And so, Laura, you two have been friends for life. And one of the things that, people always say is like partnership is either the greatest thing that can ever happen or not so much. Right. And so, how do you two manage that? Because you obviously have a great relationship. And so how did your relationship change and kind of grow and thrive through becoming entrepreneurs together?
Oh, that's such a great question because everybody tells us, are you guys crazy? You don't go into business with a friend, much less your best friend.
Yeah.
And I think that we have made such a, because I don't think I would recommend doing that to anybody, but Holly and I have such a unique relationship where we know that we want the same things. We know that deep down we have the same values, the same beliefs, the same authenticity. So for us, it really just is very effortless. And the beautiful thing is we're very honest with each other. So if we very rarely do we disagree about things, we're very much on the same page. But if we ever do disagree about something, we don't keep it inside. We don't let it fester. We will say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Or I think we should do that instead. We're not
Mm-hmm.
afraid to be honest with each other. And also, we're really careful not to let work slip into our personal lives. So obviously it happens sometimes, if we get a
Mm-hmm.
complaint or something while we're hanging out off the clock, we will talk about it, but we're both very careful to not let it define our relationship. When we're off the clock, we're hanging out as best friends, not as business partners.
Oh my gosh, there's so much in there. There's a lot to unpack, but so much good advice right there. I mean, whether you're married to, I have been in business with my husband for almost my entire adult life. And I've had many people say to me, "Oh my gosh, are you crazy? How can you work with your spouse?" Same kind of thing. But I love what you said about how you have that good communication. And I think that's the biggest challenge probably for all partners is to be honest, candid, have that care and candor kind of piece working together. Yeah, that is great for people to take note of. And that's one of the things I think that holds a lot of people back or why partnerships break up because they can't really communicate effectively with each other.
Yeah, we have a safe space where we know that I can go to Holly with any crazy idea, any disagreement. We can go to each other, and we also know that it's not going to affect our relationship at the end of the day, which is also so important. I really wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't go into business, I don't think, with my boyfriend. Absolutely not. But Holly's a different story.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you already know that about each other that you feel comfortable communicating with each other and that you're not going to step on each other's, toes or hurt each other's feelings if you're talking about business. Right. And I love too, the other thing that I think was really important that you said was that you save space for your personal relationship outside of work, So do you intentionally plan friend time, to do things together other than working together since you spend a lot of time together for work, I'm sure?
Yeah, it's actually funny. I feel like a lot of our family members and our other friends outside of us, they always say, you guys are always together. And I'm like, we're working. That's an entirely different thing. So when we do meet up outside of work, Laura and I love to brunch together.
Mhm.
We love having a nice girls' day. We're big movie buffs. So we'll have a lot of movie nights and things. And people are like, don't you get sick of each other? But it's an entirely different dynamic when we're together outside of work versus when we are at work. In fact, when we're at work, we hardly speak to each other because the day-to-day is so busy for both
Yeah.
of us.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. Well, I think that that's a great lesson for all of us is that, if you are in a partnership, whether it's with a friend or a family member, like that to have space for your personal relationship because it's so easy to spend all your time talking about work. It can be just so all encompassing, engrossing, eat up all of your time together. So that's cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of
Very
course.
inspiring. All right. So this is True Grime Stories, and we really want to dig into some of your dirt.
There's a lot. There's a lot of dirt.
And we know all entrepreneurs got some dirt. So, I know we all have lots of different true grime stories, a grime scene where something just wasn't going right. So when you think about, what was a grime scene in your life, what was what's a grime scene that you think of, like, that comes right to the surface?
You want to take this one, Hal?
I feel like we're thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was our hiring. It was the way we managed our employees when we first
Okay.
started to hire. We thought that I was so silly back then. I said, "Oh, employees will make it so easy. Like life will be so easy when we hire." And
They'll just be
we
perfect and wonderful, and there'll be rainbows and
yes,
sunshine.
they'll go work and everything will be fine.
Uh-huh.
Now, Laura and I did not understand how to recruit properly, and we hired anybody with a pulse. Like if they would show up to
Mm,
the interview,
yep.
they were hired. And so, and then once they were hired, we didn't have any systems in place whatsoever. We had no policies, we had no employee policies, no call out policies, nothing. Like no attendance policy. So it was just pure chaos. People were constantly calling out sick. They were showing up late. We had people showing up late all the time. They didn't care.
Mhm.
And we also struggled, maybe because we were a bit younger back then or something, but we struggled a lot with setting boundaries with the employees. Like it was almost like they didn't see us as authority figures. So when we did try to reprimand them, they weren't taking it seriously. So there was a lot of issue with that. And what, and now we've learned not to, we have that boundary set right from the
Mhm.
start. But we let them run our business for us. And it was just a nightmare. Constant call outs. I was having panic attacks daily,
Oh
having
my
panic
goodness.
attacks.
My
It affected
breath
my
is
mental health.
quickening as you say that, because I feel you. I was there. I went through that myself, and oh my gosh, it's so hard. So Laura, when Holly is saying that, is there like one particular story that pops into your mind of, when you lost
Oh boy.
control,
Oh man. I
or
feel
you
like
like the worst day ever?
the worst day ever. So
Yeah.
I'm starting to sweat now.
I know. I was going to say, is it hot here? Or is it just me? So I can think of a moment actually when it was during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I had caught COVID. So I was out all week, and
Mm-hmm.
Holly and I were not yet mop free. We were still cleaning in the field. And Holly managed to not be in the field at all this week because we had 11, quote unquote, wonderful part time employees.
Oh.
And so Holly said, I'm not going to have to clean it all this week. I can run the business while you're sick with COVID for the week. Every single day that week, somebody called out and Holly had to go step into the fields. And I'm dying with 103 fever, and Holly's
Mm.
calling me crying, somebody called out sick again. I can't do this. And it was just the pinnacle of a turning point of, this is not okay. Something has to change. Something is incredibly broken, and we need help.
Yeah. Yeah. And as awful as that was, and I think all of us kind of come to that point where we're like, we almost need to have something like that to happen for us to realize, oh my gosh, I have to make a change. Like there has to be something has to change right now. Um, so, and that is the thing that happens to us in the residential cleaning industry and in a lot of entrepreneurial, small companies. You're so dependent on your team members. And if we don't have structure around how that employment relationship works, as Holly was saying, they start running the business instead of you. The business starts running you instead of you running the business. All right, so here you are, you're in this grime scene, like you're sick, people are getting sick. We don't have any control or boundaries around that. What happened next?
Sorry, Laura.
No, that's okay.
Well, I was going to tell the story. So we did manage to turn over some of the really bad employees and find a little bit of peace on our own.
Oh,
But we were
good.
still cleaning. We were still
Mhm.
cleaning, and we were tired. And there were, even with some better employees, there was still a lot of call outs. There was quality issues because we didn't have training protocols in place either.
Mhm.
And it was still chaos. It was still not good. We were working in teams, so there was a lot of, bickering between the techs, people not getting along, all that stuff. And I remember one day Laura and I were out cleaning, and Debbie was hosting, Debbie, the leader, our Queen Debbie,
The Queen Debbie.
the Queen Debbie of CBF. She
Yeah.
hosted a free webinar about, for cleaning business owners. So I hopped on it while I was cleaning.
Okay.
And people were asking her questions. And I remember this is like the one question that like sticks to me to this day. Someone was asking about part-time employees, and Debbie, in her perfect, amazing, voice, was like, why would you hire part-time employees? And I was like, why would we why are we hiring part-timers? What's going on? Like, it was like a literal, and then she was like, they're more expensive, they call out, they're not reliable. Like, why would you hire part-timers? Hire full-timers that are serious about work, like that kind of thing. And then she broke down some numbers about why it makes more sense to hire people who want to work 5 days a week. And I was like, Laura, we got to do it. We got to join CBF. It has to happen. Like, she's so smart. She's amazing. I want to learn more from her. So we joined CBF, and it's really funny though. This is the one thing I will say, and most entrepreneurs, I'm sure, feel this, is that I thought I knew more than Debbie. I thought I knew more.
Oh yeah.
And I thought I knew more. And so if you are an entrepreneur,
I've been out here doing this, I know more about my business than you do.
Yep.
And it took us 6 months before we even started following any of the trainings and implementing.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought I could do it better.
Well, I'm glad that you admit that though, because
Yeah.
it's true. It's a human condition, that it's hard to be told that the way we're doing it is the problem, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's, our pride gets hurt, and, we just can't imagine doing it another way. And I have to be honest, I argued with Debbie a whole lot. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do what you just said. Like, that won't work in my business, so I totally get that. All right. Well, I think this is a really good place to just take a little pause, since we started talking about CBF, and to hear a little bit about CBF, our sponsor. So let's take a break and we'll be right back. Is your cleaning business a grime story? There's no need to stay stuck in the muck, because you're not alone. With over 500 active members and more than 500 graduates of our Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, CBF is the #1 cleaning business academy in the world and has created more mop-free millionaires than any program in the industry. Learn more and let CBF take your residential cleaning business from a grime story to a gleaming success. Well, welcome back, everyone, to True Grime Stories. We're here today with Laura Natoli and Holly Silva of Chores and More of Suffolk County, New York. And they are sharing a great grime scene story about hiring and managing their team and figuring out that they needed to make change. So let's dive back into this story. And so here you are. You know that change has to be made. You've joined the CBF coaching program and kind of trying to figure out if you can do the things, or if you can agree with the things that are in there. Who wants to take the next step? What happened next?
So I can take it from here, because this is the turning point for us of where we finally said, okay, I give in. Debbie, you're right. We'll try it. So we were going back and forth about, should we implement? What should we implement? We tried to do that thing that you really can't do, where we try to pick and choose what we're going to implement. And Holly's a little more strong-willed than me, where I was like, maybe we should try it. And she was like, I don't know. And then one day our lead cleaner, and she's been with us for almost 6 years now at this point, she came to me and said, listen, Laura, if I don't start making more money soon, I'm leaving. It's not that I want to leave. I believe in your company so much. She's been with us from the beginning, but she said, I just am not making a livable wage. So I got in my car, started hysterically crying, and said, Holly, we need to implement. We need to do empowered pay. We need to go solo. We need to do whatever we can, or we're going to lose Ashley. And we absolutely cannot afford to do that, nor would I ever want to do that. So Holly said, okay, you know what? I give in. And from that point moving forward, we implemented one by one. We implemented every single thing that we learned. We listened to the modules again, and we immediately saw results. It was it was like a night and day experience. It was like, wow. Like, and then once you see the results and you know that they work, then you're like, I will listen to any advice. You tell me to jump off a bridge, I'll probably go do that. That's how magic it was.
Yeah. So, and that is, it's kind of a thing like you realize that there's something else out there, but there's still resistance to it. And now you've given in. And so where were you at this point? What was your business like? You said you had about 11 team members. Is that right? They were all part-time though?
Yeah, at this point, we had already kind of minimized the chaos. We had a smaller team, but it was still just, we weren't making money. Our team was barely making money, and we were mostly working with part-timers. I think we had like one full-timer at the time. So it was slightly less chaotic, but we weren't growing and we weren't making any money.
Yeah. And isn't it amazing how we'll go to work every day to a company where we're not getting paid?
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. And, but that, is that kind of eye-opening thing. Like, I can't do this anymore. I have to make money, and CBF kind of gives you the pathway to that. So, so what was some of the structure that you said empowered pay, and you started putting some structure in the business? How did your team change? How did it shift? Like, how did that impact Ashley, who you mentioned? How did that happen?
Ashley is happy as a clam now. I remember I used to call her. She's still here. Yeah.
That's
We hope to. She really is. She believes in us and our business so much. She does everything. She's our head deep clean specialist. She will jump in to train when we need her. She helps us in the office. She does everything. She just really has so much faith in us, and it's wonderful. And I remember back before we started making all of these changes, I would call her while she's cleaning, and she always sounded really miserable. I remember she would answer the phone and be like, hello, she was always so sad sounding. And then as soon as we started implementing all of these things, and she started seeing double paychecks, like I'm telling you, she was making twice as much. She answers the phone to this day. Hi, how you doing? How's it going? So it's really, really good. Yeah. And we had kickback with some of our, with some of our employees at the time who wanted to stay on teams. They didn't want to drive, and we allowed it for a certain period of time until we, we're like, we had one company car that we were holding on to, and we were like, what's the point? Like, this is just it's money that we're wasting. And so we tried to keep some teams and say, but you have to drive your own cars, and everything kind of worked its way out. Like, we didn't have to let anybody go. They kind of just were like, I don't really like this new model. They didn't want to,
it's not the best fit for everyone.
Right.
You hired them in at this different model, and that it's not going to work out. The people who brought you to where you were are not the people who take you where you want to go.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. But everybody that we've hired is, we have true patriots working for our company now. They believe in us. We really share our goal. We're vulnerable about our dreams with them, and we tell them this is just the beginning for our business, and I think that's something we didn't do back then. We didn't share our vision with them, and we're really big on that now. And we tell all of them this is just the beginning, and Laura and I have very big, audacious goals and dreams that we share with them, and they're excited. We get them excited for us by doing that.
Cool. That is so
for themselves.
Cool. Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you two have really evolved as entrepreneurs yourselves, and kind of found your place in your business and how it fits into your lives and everything. And I love that you're sharing your vision. So let's talk a little bit about results then and now. So, now that you have that structure, and you created those boundaries in your business, and you're taking great care of your team, how does your business look different today? Growth wise, trajectory.
It's like night and day. It's literally like night and day. It's like, and the growth alone that we saw this past year. And I do think leveling up into the pros program in CBF really helped us to just take that next step. But we grew, what was it, 49% this year, right, Hal? Is that what I got?
Oh, my
49%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Because
that
we've been
just
in
blew
business.
my mind.
Yeah. We've been in business for 7 years, and I was just telling Jeannie off camera, I said, I don't even count the first 5. They're like not existent in my mind because there was no growth. There was accidental growth, as you can call it.
Mhm.
And now we have very intentional growth. And I've just seen such, not only a company-wide growth, but a growth in Holly and I, that we're not afraid to be radically candid. We're not afraid to be leaders and to be honest. And I feel like we're changing lives, not only with our clients, but also our employees. I mean, we have just the most wonderful, high integrity, caring employees. And I'm not just biased. I'm not just saying that because they're mine. We really have just good hearted, high integrity people working for us. And that's the biggest change that I think I've personally noticed with our company.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. It sounds like by making these changes that you just kind of like unlocked like the secret, key to the, opening the floodgates of progress and success and things for yourself. Like, and sometimes it's like that thing that you can't see until you're there. And then it's like, oh my gosh, if I just do these few things, all these good things can happen. So, and it's so great that it's like overflowing from your life into the lives of others,
Yeah.
Cool.
And we don't get call outs like pretty much ever. I think we might deal with like one every 2 months or something. Like it's hardly existent. They come to work. It's wild. It's amazing. It's amazing. They
And it
want to
speaks
come.
a lot to who you are. You're different people now. You're not hiring people who fog a mirror anymore. You're being very, selective, I'm sure, in your hiring process. And then, now you have a training system in place and, offering all the best of things. So it changes everything.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
People are probably like, what do you mean they don't have call outs? I need to know. How are they doing
I know.
that?
We're so picky with who we hire. If you saw our hiring stats of how many people apply to how many people we hire, you would be like, oh my goodness, because we are so incredibly picky, but you have to be. And when you have the luxury of being picky, the results are you don't get call outs.
Yeah, right. It's having the right people. So you mentioned vision. So let's end with that today. I would love to hear, because you guys, I just can tell, like you have so much energy, like not just a positive energy, but I feel like an explosive kind of growth energy. I'm going to see you guys 10 years from now and not even recognize you because it's like things are going to change so much. So tell me, like, what are some of the plans that you have?
Well, there's a lot. Of course, we are looking forward to reaching the $1 million. We want to be $1 million business. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. The growth is quick. We hope it'll happen by end of this year.
Oh my
But
goodness, that's exciting.
yes, that's what we're hoping for. And so that's exciting, but it does not end there. We would like to, we don't really have revenue goals. We'd love to be $2 million, $3 million business, sure. But the bigger thing for Laura and I is to really just make a footprint in the industry. And as entrepreneurs, we want to continue educating entrepreneurs. We want to also inspire entrepreneurs, encourage entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is really, really lonely. And people don't understand. Yeah, it's incredibly lonely. And even if you're in it with a partner, there's still a loneliness to it. And it can get, I think we've all felt it, even when our business is good, like, is this all worth it? It is worth it. It's so worth it. And there really are so many rewards, but a lot of people forget. So we want to educate, we want to grow our own podcast, maybe have some local events with some local entrepreneurs and just get more involved. Laura and I would love to be more involved in the CBF space one day and just, really just I just see it. I see us both being like the people, maybe for people who want to start business with a partner or a friend or something, we would love to be able to help them with that too. And just giving back to the community, having more of a footprint in our local community. You know what I mean? So it's not just money. It's more like where we stand and what we want. We want to provide just all the goodness for everybody around us, including our community, our clients, our employees. we're big on that,
Well, I can tell that you're already having an impact, but I think that you are going to have a big impact that way. I can see you too, on top of the podcast, like writing a book on, or a course on, how to be in business with someone you care about. I can't tell you how many times I've shied away from that outside of my relationship with my husband as a partner, like, because it can be so scary. If you care
It
about
is.
someone, you don't want to risk that relationship,
Yeah.
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 but
That's a great idea. I love that.
but you guys have kind of made an art of it, and because of your energy, I do think that it could be something really fun too. You both seem like just really fun people, so making it
Oh, thank you.
a fun thing. I just want to hang out with you because you got the ears going and the fun. Yeah. So, and if you had some advice for people out there who are challenged, who are struggling with their team, who are just thinking about going into business, what's something that you would share, both of you? I'd love to hear something from both of you. That'd be great.
Oh, that's a hard question. I would say don't be afraid to ask for help. You can't do it alone. I think so many people are so afraid to reach out for help, or maybe even a little bit ashamed to admit that they need help, because most of us business owners, we didn't go to college for business. A lot of people say business happened to them. I know it did for us, and I'm so
Oh,
happy
yeah.
it did. But I didn't know anything about business. And if it wasn't for CBF, I wouldn't know anything about cleaning business specifics. So I would say just don't be afraid to ask for help, get a coach, get a course, make it be CBF. I'm not just saying that, but you will go so far if you just get in the room with the right people.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. I've experienced that too. When Holly was saying it was lonely, I remember so many tearful days and sleepless nights of like, nobody understood me. My family thought I was crazy,
Yeah.
and I remember walking into the room at a CBF event for the first time and being so overwhelmed by being around so many people who got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I kind of take it for granted, and I shouldn't, but I know there are a lot of people out there going it alone, and you certainly don't have to. So that's a great piece of advice. How about you, Holly? You have something you want to share?
Yeah. The one thing that I'm going to share, because we kind of just were talking about it, is when your business knocks you down, and it will knock you down, you can get back up. You will get back up. You have to stay strong in your head and know that it will pass. This too shall pass. I grew up, my father told me this too shall pass through all the things I've been through in my life. And he was right. And it will get better. And just remember that, and it will get better. So when you're knocked down, you can get back up. You have what it takes to get back up.
Yeah, that's so great, because sometimes people feel like, oh, this is it. I just can't get through this last thing, whatever it was. So that's inspiring. And you've gotten back up many times. Right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
certainly have. And I'm sure we'll be knocked down again, and we will get back up.
Yeah, and now that you're in CBF Pros, I'm sure you've heard a lot of stories from other people. It's like, as you grow, there's a new challenge. There's a new, we call it the new devil at every level kind of thing. That's why staying in a community of people helps you. You can learn from others, just like I've learned so much in this podcast, talking to all these business owners. Like, I love your story, and I heard so much today that I had not heard before. So it's great to learn it. Well, I can't thank you both enough for being here with us today on True Grime Stories. And everyone listening to us today, be sure and check out the Hustled Up podcast that Laura and Holly host. And you're going to get all kinds of great ideas. I know that they share very openly their success strategies and their challenges and how they overcame them. So make sure and check that out. We'll have that link in our show notes. And be sure and subscribe and follow and share the True Grime Stories podcast with your cleaning business friends. And come back and see us next time on our next episode. Thanks, Laura and Holly. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's True Grime Stories. Thanks for joining us in uncovering the secrets of cleaning business success. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and download, and check out our show notes for links and info from today's episode, and to learn more about our sponsor, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Join us next time as we solve another True Grime story.